Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to AMP Web Talk. We'll start the session with a kirat. To begin in the name of Allah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad. Allahus samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. I welcome you all on the AMP Web Talk series. You saw the video of AMP, what it was initiated and how it was there. I'll give you a small presentation on AMP of 2 minutes where I'll talk about what we are doing in current year and what are we running, which are the projects that we are delivering. As you know, AMP stands for Association of Muslim Professional. AMP in the video you have seen was started off in the year 2007 by a small team of 4 members, which thought as a professional, how can we give back to the society? What we can do in terms of nation building, how can we contribute for the development of the nation? So a small team of 4 members started off, and eventually from 2007 till today, there has been a long journey of AMP. Farad, next slide, please. AMP currently in last 13-year journey has grown up, and today it is registered in India, AMP India. It is registered in USA, AMP USA. It is registered in UK, and it is registered in Australia. It is registered in 4 different countries. In the 13 year of journey, AMP has empowered throughout the journey only on 4 aspects of community development. Number 1, education, which can uplift the community to a competitive world. Number 2, employment, because majority of the members have come from the corporate world. We always believe how can we get our people into the corporate world. So that is the second important thing. Third is empowerment, which is the most important thing, a combination of education and employment, which will lead to the empowerment of the community. AMP has a vision that in next 10-year time, by the time 2030, we should be able to impact 10 million people across the country. AMP mission, AMP vision, that is what we look forward for. For the next slide, please. What has the AMP delivered in last 13-year time? So that is the most important thing in our journey. Have we been able to deliver what we had promised in the beginning of the journey of AMP? Till date, we have been able to deliver 2,800 plus skill development lecture in various schools. So how many schools? There were 800 schools which are connected to AMP across the country, where AMP volunteers go down, talk to the children over there about career development, about moral science, about how to plan your career, how to give examination, how to do different soft skill training. So this whole thing with them, we were able to cover 281,000 students throughout that. Apart from that, we were able to do teacher training programs and parenting workshop. So these are the 3 important things: how to impact the life of a student, how to impact the training of the teachers over there, and parenting, which is the most important thing for the upbringing of the students on those things. Second important part of MP was employment. In employment, alhamdulillah, we were able to help a huge number of people across the country. It is again a journey of some 7-year period. We did 360 plus job fair and job drives. This was primarily done so that people or students or candidates across the country are invited and made to sit in front of corporate so that it becomes easy for them to sit for an interview face to face. We were able to help 21,000 students across the country. Next, AMP has helped students not only in education and employment, but we are also working on how can we help students in terms of scholarship. AMP from its own AMP Zakat Fund has been able to help 800 students with their education fees. We were able to help 860 orphan students for their education, for school fees. And we were able to help 425 people for small self-employment. We are trying to work on a new model where how can we create small self-employment models for rural India, where people can be made self-dependent by small investment, and then they can take it forward from there. AMP Resource Center, we have built because of a lot of professionals from various corporate world coming together. We have built in a resource center. We have multiple things in terms of knowledge, in terms of PPT ready on our websites. So we have more than 660 career counselors who are ready to help students at any point of time. Their name, number, email ID is given on our website, where a student can go check at what time a counselor is available. So a professional, somebody might be available on weekdays, somebody is available on weekdays, weekends. So that's a defined time period given over there. A student can directly talk to the counselor during that period of time. So this is what AMP has done in last 13-year journey. And there are other products where we try to acknowledge our community people. For example, what we do is every year we identify the top 100 teachers across the country. So the community teachers who are doing really hard work on the ground, whether any part of the country, any village, whatever they are doing, if they are doing a good work, they should be acknowledged. And that is what AMP has been doing for last 5 years now. Every year we award 100 teachers across the country. So that is what we have done. For next slide, please. Post the pandemic, which hit everyone very hard, where everyone took a backseat, saying, okay, it's a tough time to deliver. Every NGO was suffering in a big time. AMP thought it's a time for community to rise to the occasion. AMP brought in digital transformation for helping the community. The first initiative what AMP launched was during last Ramzan. The biggest challenge for everyone was the how to give zakat, where to give zakat, how to help the needy people. The biggest challenge was everybody was sitting at their home and offices. How can we help them out? So AMP built a platform called indiazakat.com, where anyone and everyone can go online, identify your state, your village. You can identify student of any stream, and you can then give your zakat to the respective student. The fees, the donation that you give to a student goes directly to the college account, and the fees is paid. So you can select. There are more than 300 students listed over there. There's a huge team that verifies students right from documentation to the college verification, and if needed, a physical verification at home is also done. So a very proof down model has been built of indiazakat.com, so that our members can contribute and help the needy people of the community. Second digital transformation that AMP brought was, we had a dream that we all are professionals. We have limited time period how to help the students of our community. So indiamentors.com was launched, wherein a professional can identify 5 mentees and groom them for a period of 3 month time. So this is a two-way communication that happened. So this platform has been built with that intention, that every professional will come and register as a mentor, and 5 mentee will be mapped to him, and they can do a engagement over there. The third and the last digital transformation that we brought was empowerjobs.com. Many of us are work in corporate world. Many of us have opening in our place. How can we connect them to our students? So we build a platform where you can actually come and share the opening, the IJPs that you have in your organization. You can come and post it over there. Students will see that and they can apply to that. We have got huge database of more than 1 lakh students over there. So any profile that match the student, immediately the email is triggered to those students so they can apply for the job. So these are the 3 transformations that AMP did on the digital platform. Bharat, next slide, please. What has been the reach of AMP in last 13 years time? Today, we are present in more than 140 cities in India. We are present in more than 26 states in India, 16 countries across the globe, and we have 6,000 active members who participate on a daily basis in some or other activity of AMP. We have a digital presence, online membership of 1,25,000 people across the globe. For next slide, please. Now, this is what AMP has done. This is what AMP has delivered. If you want to scale up and grow and achieve our mission of 2030 to impact the life of 10 million people, we need more people to join us. I want to invite everyone on this presentation to come and join us at AMP. You can visit our website ampindia.org/join AMP to come and be a member of AMP and start delivering on the project. Thank you, everyone. Jazakallah. Back to Khalil Bhai.
Jazakallah khair, Razak Bhai. Thank you for your input on AMP. Let me now introduce our speaker, Mohammad Zuber Khan. He is a 2006 graduate from Aligarh Muslim University, AMU, with a BTech, and a 2008 graduate from IIT Kanpur with an MTech, both in computer science. Since then, he has gained a wide range of experience, having worked at several corporates, MNCs to be particular, such as Adobe Systems, Nolarity Communications, Amazon.com, Epic, Microsoft, and VMware. Currently, he is a software engineer at Google, specializing in data science applications. With this, I invite Mr. Zubair Khan take over and share with us his experiences in data science. Zubair Khan, sir, floor is yours.
Um, Thanks, Khalil bhai. Thanks for the introduction. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Hey, this is Zuber. And yeah, so today I, wanted to talk about data sciences and what exactly data science means, because right now a lot of, uh, you know, a lot of terms get thrown out, like data science, machine learning, and all. So I just want to, give a clarification of what exactly it is and what kind of openings are there, how to prepare for them, and what are the how does one grow in that field. So without further ado, let me start off with the presentation. It's going to be I don't have too many slides. There are just a few slides, and I want it to be more interactive. So if you have questions, feel free to ask questions in the chat, or raise your hands, and I'll be very happy to answer questions. And if you can hold on, we'll also have a Q&A session later in the presentation. So let me just go ahead. All right. So as I've already said, the agenda is going to be we'll talk about what data science exactly is, how do we prepare to be getting employed as a data scientist or related jobs in the industry, and what are the what are the openings, or what are the positions you really want to target, and how do you prepare for that. So that's going to be the agenda. So let's go ahead and talk about what exactly is data science, because that's the like when I started off, there was nothing called as data science as a field, because when I came out of college, it was yeah, you do some machine learning, and that's pretty much about it. And So it's a pretty nascent field. It's just 10 years old. The definitions keep changing. What used to be called as data mining yesterday has started getting called as uh, data science today, or earlier days business analysts started getting known as data analysts. So these are various things. Uh, uh, Somebody has raised a hand. I believe it was Asif. Do you have a question, or can you hold on till I move forward? Okay, so I'll go ahead. So let's start with the definition, because whenever we are doing anything, we just want to see what exactly it means right now in the book. So just to get a definition, you go ahead and look at Wikipedia. So Wikipedia says data science is an interdisciplinary field that uses scientific methods, processes, algorithms, systems to extract knowledge and insights from structured and unstructured data, and apply knowledge and actionable insights from yada yada yada. I mean, you can see it's a mouthful. So let's break it down and let's see what exactly the definition means for data science. One thing you can see that it's actually related to data mining, machine learning, big data. So everything comes in. So you can think of data science as a field which involves different fields of sciences, like mathematics predominantly, computer science, and some business analytics as well. And what you do is you work with data, you try to extract some knowledge and insights from that data, and because the data is not going to be coming in the format that you want, so you also have to do some structuring and polishing of your data, and then apply your domain knowledge or your insights and try to see if there's a pattern that's coming out, or if there is a direction the data is telling you. So that's pretty much data science is. And so as I said, there are a lot of buzzwords that gets thrown. Somebody says big data, machine learning, new term came out, deep learning. So these are all the newer terms, but don't get swayed by those. Most of those are marketing terms. So let's look into what exactly how these terms relate to each other. So as I said, the terms that gets thrown at you is data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, big data, and all. So how do they relate to each other? So if you look, so let's see what are the target they are trying to achieve. So as you see, the biggest thing here is artificial intelligence. What it means is to have some kind of intelligence into a system that doesn't need to be spoon-fed. Let it generate any intelligence out of it. So any system that without human interaction can make decisions or can do anything is, you can say, is an artificial intelligence. And I mean, there is a mathematic and technical definition to that, but in a layman's term, that's what artificial intelligence is. And one of the ways to do that artificial intelligence, one subset of all the systems and everything around that, is machine learning. So machine learning is, so in order to have intelligence, you need to teach anything people or machines. So here we are teaching machines. So it's like machine is getting learned. So that's where the machine learning comes into picture. And then there are various ways to make a machine learn. There are like various different types of learning, like supervised learning, unsupervised learning, hybrid model of that, different learning mechanisms. And deep learning is just a way of teaching machines. So you can say that this is how you can correlate these different terms, and then add to the mix some statistics and some data analysis. The intersection is basically data science. So you can say that data science is nothing but an intersection of artificial intelligence mixed with statistics and data analysis and data engineering. You can think about that. So as I said, this is how you can understand where the data science, the word lies. If I look at the universe, data science is just an intersection of all these fields coming together to solve one specific problem or answer questions. So what are the so this is how the definition looks like. But in the practical world, how does it come together? So think about it. So I was a couple of days back, I was talking to a friend of mine, actually my roommate, when I was like pretty young out of college. So I was talking to him and asking him, hey, what do you think a data analyst, data scientist, what's the role he plays in the industry? He said, his answer was, it's like a VP wants to do something, or he has an idea, just to present or to have that decision make, or just to gain that confidence that he's going in the right direction. He just asks his data analyst or data scientist to come up with the data so that he can go to the boardroom and say that, hey, this is why we should do this. That's one way to look at it. Another way is like my experience at Amazon. So Amazon wants to call itself as a data-driven company. Anything you present or any statement that you make has to be backed by data. Even if from the point of view of, is your service doing well? Is your product is selling? Or even if you want to get promoted, everything needs to be backed by data. So, data is everywhere. So in Amazon, like what the price should be, where should that, all the inventory management, the fulfillment services, everything has to be backed by data. So all this data has to be, so first that data has to be collected, and then that data has to be analyzed, and then that data has to be presented. So you can think that everything in steps of these is actually data sciences. So how does the pipeline look like? So I was looking at, if I have to put in one picture that what exactly the data science or data scientist does, this is what I came up with. And, this is not a picture made by me. I got it from Berkeley's side. But this is what they say, you can break it down into 5 major streams or components, you can say. One is capture the data. How do you acquire the data? The data has to be acquired, maybe it's a stream of data that's coming in. There are some manual data entries that happens, or you are listening to certain events, and those event is data, or you extract data out of a huge amount of data that you get. Um, like these days, everybody wants to attach whatever you are doing with some number or some data. Like you are clicking anywhere, or you have your location on. So where do you go? Where do you spend your time? Everything is data here. So as the word goes in the industry, data is the new gold. So anybody who has more data is the most rich, and that one of the reasons that's why Google is such a big company, because they own a lot of data. So that's one part. How do you capture data? Then once your data you have the data, you need to have put it someplace so that you can use it readily. That's where the maintain part of the data comes in. Because the data is too big, you can't just store it in a live data set, like in a live database. So what you do is you build warehousing solutions where, like in warehouse, like all the data you don't, all the products you don't go and put it on the shop, right? You put that in the warehouse. Similarly for data, right? All the data you put it in the warehouse where you have like terabytes of data, and you are not actively working on that. I mean, there's different ways you talk to that data. So data warehousing comes in a big picture here. Data cleansing, because you are getting data from different sources. Quite a few data might be, just noise. So how do you clean that data? How do you make sure that the data that you're getting is diverse enough? As you must have seen, diversity is a big thing. So how do you get data from different places, and how do you remove noise? How do you make sure that you are not having duplicate data or the data just in one direction? So as I said, you don't talk directly to the warehouses. You need to stage that data somehow, doing some transformations or doing some aggregations on top of it, so that it's ready to process. So once you have that data, you do the processing, and in the processing, one of the things you do is you look for keywords, like if you have seen all those pictures where they make the word bigger as many times it has come in the data, and then the size define how many times it's been used. So that's like trying to find out data in all this or words or keywords in that, trying to find out some meaning of that, some definition of data mining. Then you try to cluster or classify the data, as in, based on, let's say, data that you're getting, which is about somebody's, traveling time, or when does he start for the time for his office. Maps is a very good source of that. So you can cluster people in, like, hey, the people of this area starts at this time, or people of, this is the time where people stay at the same place. Those kind of things. You cluster the things, like the shopping pattern, like and the credit card information is pretty important there. So the shopping pattern, as in, what does a person of given age is spending his money on. So you try to cluster or classify your users or your data into a manageable set, because mind always wants to short circuit and make a decision, and clustering and classification really comes in a picture there. You want to model the data, as in, data might not be in the format that you can process, so you do some different modeling, or also you might want to do some relationship analysis of that, and then you want to do some aggregations, like let's say in a cloud world, think about so many VMs are there, right? Now in the VM, if you look at the data and the usage of each VM, doesn't make much sense, right? So what you really want to do is you want to cluster them, and you want to summarize the data based on a given set of VMs. So that's another way, a lot of processing happens on the data. Then once you have the data in this format, which is, so you can see our data has changed its structure from capturing to maintenance, and then process. Once you have processed it, now analyzing that becomes really manageable, and I wouldn't say easier, but still manageable because, processing a terabyte of data versus processing a gig of data, you can still make much more sense. And, the algorithms can really, really try to find out right values out of what the data is telling you. So in an analysis, what generally the kind of answers that we try to do is, whether we are like, if we are exploring in terms of where are people spending most of their money, or what kind of shopping pattern people are using, or it's like, I have created a marketing campaign on email, and we want to see that was that campaign a success in terms of, did people click on that, and if people clicked on that, did they buy the product? If they bought the product, did they choose? Then within that, you want to confirm that your price is right or not, or people are looking at the product, adding to their cart but not buying. Those kind of analysis you do. Then you also do a predictive analysis, and that's really useful in terms of creating your credit score and issuing any credit card, those kind of things. And then you also want to do some predictive analysis in terms of usage, like in data centers. When I was working on one of the projects, we were trying to find out if the usage is looking like we would be able to fulfill it with the current capacity. So that's also very useful in inventory management. Like, do I have what kind of data, what kind of product should I be putting in our warehouses? And then regression, you want to, regression again is like multiple types, linear, and other, you try to figure out a relationship between different components of data, and then text mining and trying to find out the quality of the data in terms of what the qualitative information is giving, not. And then once you have the data, who are the consumers of that data? So as a data scientist, I might come up with, algorithms, run some processes, and, create a spreadsheet, or, create a data which is still like a couple of megabytes long. So how do you present that data? Because your consumers are going to be business people. I mean, for a project, it's good that you come up with, a set of data at the end. But in an industry setup, what you want to do is create reports out of it. You want to do a visualization, like some charts, some trend graphs, sometimes word charts and all those things. Then business intelligence, and that actually defines or helps in making the decision. So yeah, I know the slide is pretty heavy, but the main idea, this is the gist of what data science actually looks like in industry. So if I can summarize, the data science pretty much looks like you extract knowledge from data, which is like data mining. It usually involves a huge amount of data, sometimes terabytes, but it's not a necessary condition. You can actually, I've seen problems, or I've seen places where we have used a scan amount of data, but just that having smaller amount of data doesn't mean you cannot extract any information of that. Again, data science is very interdisciplinary. It's just not programming. It's just not mathematics. It's more than that. It's like statistics, because you want to formulate models. You want to basically, given the data, you want to look at it and see, what can represent this data in terms of equations and all. Then computer sciences, you want to process the data, because the data is mostly huge. So you want to remove the noise, you want to do some transformations, and then you use different computer science packages like programming. The commonly used programming languages are R and Python. Are you generally used for modeling the things, doing proof of concepts, and mostly production systems. They're either in Python, using pandas as a library, or other first citizen languages like I have seen people using Go as well in data sciences, but still Python is the most popular. And then once you have the data you want to visualize, so you really want to have your hands good at drawing graphs and different all those visualization techniques. Like a lot of skills that are being used right now is using the different visualization products like Tableau and all. But I wouldn't go deeper into what specific products, but it's more like you should have an idea that how does project, presentation or visualization look like, in a given scenario. Do you want to create Venn diagrams? Do you want to create a line chart, bar chart, those kinds of things? So just having some idea about that is really good for data sciences. So again, if you look at it, we talked about how do we capture, manage, process, and analyze. And then once we have analysis of that's done, we communicate that results to the consumers. And in the end, everything that we are doing has to serve some business purpose. Like, do you, as a result of your data analysis, do you you create some campaigns in terms of marketing, or are you putting more emphasis on a given product, or for data center, do you order more hardware so that that the predictive analysis is saying that your usage is going to be going up the roof? So that's one of the reasons. As we all, as I have talked about what is data science, so let's give a minute to talk about what's not data science. So just machine learning, or just learning about learning one algorithm and trying to predict some value, like I give you two features and you give me one result, that's a big part of data science, but that's not just that one is not data science. And then a lot of people these days, they just come up with Excel and they just transform their data into Excel document and then create charts on that. That's just not data science. It's just visualization, right? Remember, data science is not just about presentation. It's just not about analysis. It's the whole picture, right? And mathematics and statistics play a big role in there. And then data science has to be thought of in whole from the beginning of a process. Like if you have a company that's working on a given product, you cannot just put data science or data scientists as a band-aid to suddenly say that, hey, add value, because you might not have thought about capturing that data itself. So if there is no data, how will you try to do analysis on top of it? Or and then data science depends a lot on the quality of data. So that's why I'm saying it's not a band-aid. It has to be thought before you even think about you would be using it for data science. And then again, it's still a science. In the end, it's a process, and it depends on what kind of data that you have. So if you have bad data or wrong data or just one kind of data, it's going to be bad, garbage out. I mean, one of the biggest example of that can be, think about, you might not have even thought about it, but think about the camera that's there on a phone. The camera is a hardware. I mean, it's going to be working the same, but there is a software that works on top of it, and that software has some intelligence in it. That software was always trained on people who have, have a fairer skin. Now, if you use that camera on people with darkened skin tone, either their face won't look natural, their surroundings will be, shaded out. That was a big issue, and as part of diversity at Google, they did make a lot of changes, and they did train the data later on other, data set with different skin tones. And then, this IO, we released our Android, which is more fair in terms of giving the more natural skin tone to the people. So you can see, data science and ML has impact across the stream, and for no reason, data science is one of the most sought after science right now, and it's used a lot in making decisions, and in every product. I mean, you won't even imagine where data and data science is being used. So moving on, so we have all gotten motivated. What's data science? We know how does it impact. So let's talk about how do you prepare, or how do you can become a data scientist, and a good one at that. So the roadmap for data scientists actually looks like something like this. So you have to be, really good at mathematics. And until like 10 years back, most of the data scientists used to have a maths degree or an economics degree, because statistics really was a thing. And think about this, right? Programming can be taught to anyone, right? But if you don't have that acumen for mathematics and statistics, you can't do good in data sciences. And when I was talking to my friend, he was telling me, most of the people who who worked under him used to be engineers, and the reason for them is like engineers have supposedly a better better sense of quants, and also think they're still okay with numbers, so they still come. But the one who really shone was the one who had a real good grasp of statistics. And again, so once you have that, so that's the prime thing. You really want to be good in statistics. And then modeling, how do you model the data? So in modeling, you need statistical regression modeling, and then creating other ML models. So that's the part of mathematics. And a lot of people who start taking courses, they drop off when the mathematics and the statistics become really dense. And that's what separates a good data scientist versus the one who just goes there for the name. Because data science is a very good field. It's a very good paying field. But in order to do good, you really have to, slug it out and do, just doing one course on data science related programming is not going to make you a good data scientist. So that's one. Then, of course, programming is important, and the tools for the programming tools that people use mostly is Python, and they have to talk to databases, extract data. So SQL is another kind of a prereq, I would say. And then because the data can be really huge, so they want to put it in Hadoop clusters and all. So some good knowledge about Hadoop is also a good thing. So this is about something that you can measure, but there is something more, which is, can you find trends in data? Like again, this comes from your aptitude, from your mathematics background, that you can see variance and covariance and all those things. Can you find trends in data? So that's again something that you learn with time, but the more you spend with data, time you spend with data, the more you'll get good at that. And then data scientist has to have some kind of deeper business understanding. Like most of the data scientists who are expert in their field, they have been in that field for some time before they became the data scientist. Like one of my friends who is a data scientist at a networking company, and you might think, what is a data scientist going to be doing in a networking hardware company? But the thing is, he has worked in networking for long. He knows the business in and out, and right now his data science is mostly about how do you detect some kind of nefarious traffic in your firewall. So again, the understanding of the business is really, really important. So let's look at where all data science is being used in practice. So one of the biggest and most ancient use of data science has been in the insurance companies. They use it to see how many claims we will be having in this field. So basically, given the amount of data, like whenever you have gone for insurance, they'll ask like a lot of data. And what they're actually using that data is for coming up with your insurance premiums. That's one. And then you can see a lot of forecasting and prediction companies, like companies that do credit score. They do a lot of data uh, sciences, data analysis to come up with your credit score, and then credit card companies use it to you know, create a forecast that, you know, or make a decision like whether to grant this user with this with the credit card or not. What should his credit limit be? It's not 2x if your monthly salary, believe me. And uh, and then they also make a forecast in terms of, you know, the various point system they come up with. So that, again, they are marketing terms, but whom to target. So all this targeting is another thing. Then investment banking, you won't believe, one of the highest paying jobs are the companies that used to come for interviews for us at ID Kanpur was uh, uh, investment banking companies like UBS or Credit Suisse or even Tar Brothers and all. You know, they used to be Lehman Brothers as well. So they are really looking out for people who have strong mathematics background, because they are making a decision in terms of where to put their money in, how to create the various investment products. So that's again the place where data science is hugely highly used. And then in marketing, of course, I mean, that looks quite obvious, but you know, right now the marketing is not just showing ads. I mean, we have marketing has gone ahead from that, and now is the time of targeted campaigning. So they get a lot of data, like all the clicks that you have made, or all the products that you see, how your browsing history looks like, and then they'll send you emails. Again, they are trying to connect a lot of data, like your shopping pattern, your browsing pattern, your even banking pattern, and then they are using that to give you targeted ads, like you know, you I mean, I'm a bicycle. I bicycle a lot, so you know, I have data from my Fitbit. It goes to Google, right? So they know that I cycle, and this is how long I cycle. And yesterday I was looking for a new pedal. So now, because this data is all, you know, these are all data, you know, companies that make use of data. So I start seeing ads or emails from companies who are into, you know, biking shoes, because if you're buying a new pedal, you must be needing a new biking shoes. So that's how, you know, the data science goes in practice. So this is how, you know, you can think that how the data science is having a practical use case. And so if there is a need for data science, you know, there is data scientist jobs. And so if you look at, you know, if you rank those, you know, data scientist jobs, who is paying the most, who are hiring data scientists. So as I said, every company wants to get the data scientists, but you know, the most paying, the highest, and the best of the best actually are taken up by insurance companies, and they are not even called data scientists. So in India, there is something called as Actuaries Society of India, which is basically, once you qualify them, it's more like you in order to become a CA, you qualify or you get accreditation from the insurance, you know, body. Similarly, for getting and working as a data scientist in insurance company, you have to get qualified with ACI. And they are mostly, you know, master's students from mathematics and economics, and they are paid like a lot. And a lot of people don't even know that they are, because they're not called data scientists. Then the big four of consulting, which is Deloitte, EY, KPMG, and PwC. So you might think, why are these guys, consulting companies having data scientists? Because think about this: they are consulting with companies to make their, future decisions, and everything has to be backed by data. So that's why these four are, on the lookout for the best brains for becoming a data scientist. And then consultancies, again, everything outside of Big Four. And then there again, then BCG and Accenture is also a pretty good company in terms of the kind of work, the amount of pay that they do. And then, of course, as I talked about, a lot of marketing, Amazon, Walmart, etc., are also, in that range. Looking at our whole process, if you see, the most paying or the best brains actually go and work on the analyze part of data science pipeline. Because they look at the data, they create, they find value or they find the meaning in the data. They do predictive analysis. They define the relationship between the different components of data. They find various things in the data. So they do qualitative analysis. So you can see these are the things that, gives the direction to a business, right? So that's where most of the brain goes. And that's, so like, if somebody who has shown that he has a capacity to learn, he has the capacity to make right decisions, or he can do a lot, pretty good in machine learning and all those things. Those are the places where they are, they work on. I mean, you can see a lot of people, they call themselves data analysis, but analysts and all, but what they are actually working on is just how do you get the data to the data warehouse, or doing some data acquisition. And there are a lot of so-called data scientists who are just doing, creating reports on Excel or visualizing data. So you can see that the best brains are going to analyze component of this, and that's where the biggest money is. And looking at, and then there is another thing, right? It's easier to get into these, first few fields like capture or process, because this doesn't need you to have that subject expertise or the domain expertise, but use it as, so if somebody, if you look at the job description and you can figure out that they're actually looking for people who can just process data or capture data from the haystack. I mean, use that as an opportunity to get your foot into that, and then learn or gain that subject matter expertise, and try to go towards this part where you're actually doing the data intelligence, you can say. So if you look at how does these job openings come in, there are various names they use. There's something called as data analyst, who is just trying to gather data from SQL, from Excel, from event stream and all. They, at the most, what they're doing is they're just finding trends. Data engineer is basically an analyst who also has some programming expertise. So he'll add some statistics, apply some statistics on that, and then do some data structuring, remove noise from data. It's more like a software engineer kind of a role, but you can think that it's data analyst plus some engineering. Machine learning is basically, as I said, data scientist does some POC. He looks at the data and he says, hey, this is the model that we should be using. And when I say model in the deep learning world, that can be, he has come up with an equation, basically a matrix. And then how do you productionalize that? So that is basically what machine learning engineer does. And then it's more like a software engineer. He is doing, so if you look at data scientist versus machine learning engineer, he knows, data scientist knows almost everything about data. And then he does his analysis, applies statistics, and he comes up with a model. And then that model is basically, he has done a proof of concept of that, and he passes it on to the machine learning engineer, and he'll productionalize it, basically run it at scale. Um, and he might not have that much insight into data because he's more like an executor of a data of that model that has been created by the data scientists, and then execute it, and then work at different, solve the issues all that come in the production. So that's pretty much like that. So you can think data scientist to be the one who is designing the system, coming up with, how does the system should look like, and then machine learning engineer is a software engineer who is just implementing that. Data scientist does a lot more experimentation. Engineers basically maintain and operate. Data scientist spends most of his days looking at Jupyter notebooks. He's creating various different kind of code snippets just to prove himself that the ideas that he has works. Whereas a machine learning engineer or data engineer have basically work on an IDE on a day-to-day basis. Data scientist actually mines the data to find relationships. The engineers just make that data usable, or even data analyst also does that. So that's how it goes. So how does one become or get into data sciences? So one thing I would say is there you can look at it from different things. So if you are still in college, what I would suggest is spend more time on statistics. Of course, programming is important, but the thing is, programming can be learned even later on. But if you don't build that statistics base, it will really be hard for you to get into a data science field. That's one. Second is be good at mathematics. Again, mathematics and statistics are not the same, but pretty related. And then if you are already in a software engineer, let's say, and you want to change your stream, one of the things you can do, as I said, is try to shift. You can always gain some knowledge about machine learning engineer, become a machine learning engineer, or at least data engineer, and then from there add that domain expertise, and that's when you can go ahead and become a data scientist. But again, you have to have that statistics background, because that'll help you to smell the trends in the data, and that's what data scientists are paid for. They define not just, they just look at the data, do some simple analysis, and they can say that these are two different fields, whether they are related or not in your data. So that's really important. Again, so if I have to give you, like, if you've already done your graduation, so one of the things I've seen, the best data scientists are the people who really went on to become data scientists, actually did their masters, and they did their masters either in like MS in economics, they did their masters in business as a business analyst, or information management from any of the universities, School of Management. You can look at in India, you have most of the IITs have their management schools, management departments. You can look at those. Even IIMs have started giving out mass MBAs or they call it postgraduate diploma in business analysis and information management. That's one of the places you can look at in person. Or online, you can see a lot of data science specializations coming up. Like my alma mater, IIT Kanpur, also has a specialization certification on that. Johns Hopkins University has things. Deep Learning AI also have their courses in Coursera. So because if you are already in data science field, you can always add skills, going from, taking shorter courses from Udemy and all, and that's good. But if you want to change stream, what I would say is get a certification. They might, be I mean, you might have to pay some money for that, but I would really ask you to, do that and get a certification like from, and in the industry, your Udemy completion certificate is worth, I'm sorry to say, worth nothing. But if you're doing it from Coursera, there is some, understanding that person must have gone through a lot of things. Or Udacity is another one, which gives, micro degrees, they call it, which are like 6 months degrees. If you get to that, that's also a good one. That can be, one way you can look at it. And most of the places, if you look at all these courses, first few months they will teach you just statistics, like statistics in terms of variance and all, usual statistics, then regression, and then different models of those. So that's all the things. And I would always say, beware of scam courses. There are a lot of courses that are popping out. They're asking you to pay money, but their certificates are not as useful if you are just changing stream. Yeah, of course, if you are in data science stream already, like you are a data analyst and you want to learn something about how do people do analysis, yeah, please go ahead. That can tell you where to start and then get a certificate from a good source like Coursera, or in India you can do it from, IITs have their own certifications online. I would suggest taking those. If I have to ask, what are the projects I do so that I can get my hands dirty on data science, or what does actually data science project look like end to end? So, if some directions, you can create a chatbot, do a credit card fraud detection, fake news detection, pretty useful. You can do these are various things. Or, then the question comes up, where do you get data and how all those things? Just visit Kaggle. That's the place where you'll get more projects. There are paid projects as well. You get to know, you also get data as well. And this is one site I really follow, which has like towardsdatascience.com. This has pretty good resource. It's just a Medium blog. So yeah, that's pretty much that I had in my mind. So that's pretty much that I had, and that's where I'll end. Questions?
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry if I went a little beyond time.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, you made my job a little difficult, because as you were talking, I was writing down the questions to ask, and you kept answering them. So I really don't have too many questions to ask. Okay. But thank you, Zuber bhai. For our participants, Zuber bhai is joining us from the greater Seattle area, where it's actually approaching midnight. Okay, if you think you had a problem waking up early, well, this shows his commitment to the country, community, and science. And this was a very well captured summary of data science. He started out by listing out the opportunities, defining what is data science, how to prepare for data science, and what are the openings, positions that are available. One of the things that he captured about the subject itself was how data science is an intersection of three important subjects: artificial intelligence, statistics, and data analysis. And I thought that the data science pipeline diagram that he described to us, yes, it was very heavy, but it was the essence and everything about data science. And I can tell you, I have taken a screenshot of that. I didn't find it by myself on Berkeley, but that's something I'm going to share with every student who asks me, what is data science? And the good thing was about talking about how data science essentially is statistics, and everything is built upon that. And his emphasis that if you have a choice, start with statistics and work your way up. And the good thing was, this is another question that he answered. Many students, when I talk to, the question they have is, how do I get into data science? And they are already doing engineering and not even computer science. Sometimes it's civil engineering, mechanical, electrical. And he had an answer for that as well. So absolutely, gave us all the answers, and Kaggle was the really cream on the cake. Everybody should be on Kaggle if you want to be a data scientist. So with that, thank you very much. And let's see if we can answer as many questions as we can. I'll just read them out from the Q&A chat bot. So the first question is, as per the slide, the Venn diagram, does it mean for deep learning, one can go without statistics or data science? Data analysis. In other words, deep learning is totally independent of statistics, data analysis. Your answer, sir?
No. So I'm sorry if that diagram, basically I was just saying that I was just taking AI part of it. But yeah, it includes, you do need to do some statistics in there, but it's not that, that deeper. You are not coming up with a new model. You can think about, you have various models that are already available, and then you put your data on that. So think about it, in deep learning, what you are actually doing is you have multi-layered neural networks, artificial neural networks, and you have CNN, and then you SNN and RNN and all those things, right? So in the end, what you are trying to do is build on top. So you're not generally creating a new, but always, even if you go and take a machine learning course, they will teach you at least linear regression and support vector machines. So yeah, there is some statistics, but not as heavy. So that's where the differentiation also comes in, right? You cannot get away without statistics.
Okay.
I hope that answers the question.
Sorry. Okay. Shahrukh wants you to elaborate on uses in cybersecurity.
Yeah. So cybersecurity. So think about, in security, one of the biggest thing is how do you find intrusion, or how do you detect there's something that are happening. And again, you need data for that. And how do you detect intrusion? How do you detect a new, like I was saying, one of my friends is actually working in a network hardware company. And the way they work is they analyze a lot of data, have their predictive models in there, and when the data comes in, they are able to figure out whether this is a same network call versus a hacker who's trying to make data out. I mean, trying to hack your system, or trying to just have intrusion, because hacking is not just one command; it's like multiple. So yeah, that's for cybersecurity, data science. And this is just one use case that I was telling. There's a lot of those. I mean, there is predictive security, and then there is a post thing. So yeah, there is a lot.
Okay, thank you, sir. On the roadmap slide, should one be good in all that was listed? That is mathematics, programming, analytics.
If you want to be the best, that's what you do. Otherwise, you'll have one handicap, right? You don't run with your one leg tied, right? You really want to have expertise. I mean, data scientist is, think about it, he's an expert. He is driving the company's decision. If you really want to be just a programmer, you can, but you'll be stuck. You will never be target the pinnacle, right? Target the top. So in order to be at the top, you need all those. I mean, you can survive with just programming as a data engineer, but not for long.
Yeah. Okay. Mohammad Haq wants to know how blockchain and data science are related. What jobs or companies can we look at?
Well, it depends. What do you mean by blockchain? So blockchain has different use cases. It doesn't, I would say, they are kind of a different streams altogether. Blockchain does use some data sciences, but you use it as a complementary to blockchain. So they are not related in that sense. But of course, wherever there is data, there is some data science. So I believe they do use some data sciences, but that's more like an application on top of blockchain. Blockchain is more at the infrastructure level. And if I start talking about blockchain, it'll be the whole night.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who want to ask questions. Mohammad Haq has a question, another question. It says it's late to become a mathematician or economist. Apparently, he's already graduated or in school. But what are the jobs we can look at if we are already in business intelligence and understand the business, but not too much into data science? I think you have answered partially. If you want, you can add something to this.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If this is more like, add that layer of statistics on top of it, and you'll be pretty good to become a data scientist. Now, how do you prove that you have gotten that expertise? That's what you get some, get your hands on good data science projects. You'll know that, how the statistics plays a part, create some models out of it, and then you can always and use that. So you've already taken your first step, which is get into that domain by becoming a business analyst. Now use that opportunity and learn these skills. I mean, we are not saying you have a PhD in mathematics to become. It's just an aptitude. So if you can add that formal knowledge of statistics on top of it, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I mean, becoming a good data scientist.
Okay. Here's another question. What extra insight does an AI specialist need to have beyond machine language skills?
I am not sure of the question, but I think he or she wanted to know, besides ML, what else they need to become a good AI engineer. I think, again, I just answered that, which is add some understanding of the business, and statistics will help you.
Yeah. Okay. This is where from I do data science course for free. I would say Coursera can be done for free unless you want a certificate. Do you know any really specialized data science courses outside of Coursera? Any very specialized?
So you can actually go and look for data science course for free, but always the things that come for free are using you as a product. Data science course is not the product. So look out for the product which is charging you, because in the end, think about it, right? You don't want, if you want to do it just for your college project, please go ahead and do the free courses. But if you want to use that and change your, employment track, or actually gain a track, you definitely need some certification from good places. So just to get started, you can look for courses on Udemy. You can get that in $500. But again, nothing good comes for free.
I don't know whether this one you'll be able to answer from Syed Mohideen. There are too many courses even on Coursera. Can you please specify any good ones relating to the data science field in Coursera? Thanks. If I were to answer this, I would have said filtering is part of learning.
But I actually did talk about that in my slides, which was, there's one data science specialization from Johns Hopkins University that's like topmost, and that's pretty good. And then there is a specialization from deeplearning.ai that's also pretty good. So you can take any one of those. These are specializations, not just one course. So there'll be like multiple courses. So there'll be one specific course with pretty long list of modules for just statistics. So I myself dropped out of it at that point in time. So
okay.
So they are deep, but once you get through that, you will be definitely pretty good in data science.
Okay. There are a few questions which I feel are a bit related, so I'll put them all together and then you can answer them. The first is, how would one reach you? The second is how to apply for jobs in Google. The third is a request to share your email address. And the fourth is, can we get the presentation slides? If you want me to repeat any one of those, I will. But you could probably.
I can see the question. So I think I can share the slides with Khalil Bhai, and then he can share with everyone. That's doable. Email address, depends what you want to do with that. Find me on LinkedIn and give me a message over there. That's how you reach me. That's where you can also apply for jobs at Google.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, to everybody who is here, if you are not on LinkedIn, it's about time you get in there. And that's a good forum for discussion, technical. And then how can a few AMP members become mentors from Google to Indian students?
I didn't get the question, but I think, is he
Yeah.
saying, can people from Google be mentor of people who are AMP members? I think that can be thought about. I'm not sure. See, the point is, we already are mentors to a lot of people, and it really becomes hard to add more because we really devote a lot of time in our mentorship. So, like even now, I'm actually mentoring 3 or 4 guys, and like in our local community as well, we are working with certain organizations to help people. So it's really hard, but yeah, I can say that if you really are interested, find me on LinkedIn and send me a message.
Yeah. The other answer I would give is AMP itself has a mentoring website called the indiamentors.com, and people can sign up there and you can find a mentor that will suit your purposes. I mean, it's gone live for a while now, and you can try that out. Please share some good resource to master deep learning concepts. I don't know offhand if
Yeah,
they
I think
want
I've already
any.
answered that, but yeah, please go ahead and look at Kaggle and towards datascience.com. That's pretty good resource.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Somebody who is pursuing master in statistics, he wants to know if you can suggest practical projects. I think you did, right?
Yeah, so go ahead. I gave a list of 6 projects, which was like just a tip of the iceberg. But yeah, go to Kaggle, you'll find a lot of projects. And I'm really happy that you are doing your master's in statistics. So your first step is pretty good. I just learned a few, engineering skills in terms of coding and all. Do some Kaggle projects, and you are ready to be a good data scientist.
Okay, the next question, please share your LinkedIn ID so that we can connect you there. You can just go and search for Mohammad Zuber Khan. It shouldn't be so hard. And then you can connect from there. If you have trouble, perhaps you can check with us. If Zuber Bhai is okay, I can share that link.
Yeah, please, sure.
I don't want to, bother every speaker with having to do this. And then the other
Yeah, I
question
just go through them all the so just information. I just go through the LinkedIn invites once in a week or sometimes in a couple of weeks. So you might have messaged me and you don't hear back. That doesn't mean I'm ignoring. It's just that I didn't get to that. Yeah, I'm not. LinkedIn is not the place you check every day. So
True. Happens to me all the time. This is a question from Samir Bhai. He's the AMP ICT member. And his question is, if we have a question, can we get contact details? Samir Bhai, we will talk about this offline since we are all in the leadership team. But as Zubair Bhai said, for everybody, he's available on LinkedIn. But please don't expect answers in within a day or so. All of us, many of the people, especially like Zubair Bhai, who are busy, tend to be not so much on social media. So we have to be patient. Okay, so I am a data analytics doing data engineering job. How can I go easily in data science fields? I suppose he's already there.
yeah, I mean, just that gain more domain expertise, show yourselves to be good at statistics, and just ask them, why are you not just a data analyst and not the data scientist? They'll tell you what are the things that you need to know, and then get those expertise. Yeah. Again, data scientist. The biggest part of being a data scientist is the domain expertise and statistics.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question from which I will generalize. This is from a BCom graduate who is interested in programming. But generally for students from arts, science, and other streams, can they realign to the data science stream? And if they can, how can they go about?
Yeah, definitely. That's a pretty good question. So, one thing, data science is not a programmer's job. So it's like it has some programming aspects, but just having programming is not going to cut the thing. Then next thing is it involves a lot of statistics. So if you really want to excel in this field, you definitely need statistics. I mean, I cannot go about that again. But yeah, so if you are BCom and you have some statistics background, why not just get your feet, have some programming skills, become a data analyst. You'll get some knowledge about the domain, and then you can grow from there.
Okay. Here's a question from Tariq Mahmood, which many students ask, and we can generalize that as well. He says, "Sir, I am a fourth-year student, so obviously he must be in engineering. As a fresher, I have been practicing data science since 2 years. I'm not getting calls for interviews. Can you tell me how a job-winning resume looks like?" This is
Yeah,
about
I
writing
mean, I'm sorry
resumes,
if this is not
not
yeah.
in your domain.
Yeah, but you
I
can
would
get
just,
online
yeah.
a lot of good resumes.
Yeah, I would again tell everybody, if you have these kind of career questions, career guidance questions, do sign up on the India Mentors. There are good mentors, several mentors available from the corporate area, and they are people who look at resumes every day. Okay, and these people will tell you when they look at the resume what they are looking for, because what I read is most people spend not more than 30 seconds on a resume. So you need to capture their attention there. That's something I would suggest all of you to sign up on the indiamentors.com. Okay, here's a nice one, not a question. Zuber sir, you're great. You just made our idea very much clear about data science, about your qualifications and job positions. True inspiration.
Yeah, I don't hear my praises,
Any
so yeah, this is
comments?
meaningless to me.
No, that's a very well captured. And coming from a student, it's good praise. If you recall, as students, we never thought anybody was good, especially anybody who spoke, technical language and gave an hour-long lecture. Can you share your short journey till becoming Googler, Shahrukh? I would suggest you go to your LinkedIn, read about his journey. You will learn a lot, and perhaps if a little bit later, when Zubair Bhai is free and has a little bit time, we can invite him to give a talk on what we call the role model series. Okay, there probably he can talk about that, but I don't know whether he has the time to say everything about it. Do you want to give a short answer, Zubair Bhai?
Yeah, the journey started when I was at college doing my master's, and I did my Google interview. That's when I decided I want to be a Googler. That's the journey. It's just that I joined 15 years after that.
Okay, that's the Cliff Notes version, or
I was
the
rejected from Google for like 5 times. So yeah.
okay. What will be the infrastructure, computer and storage required to practice data science projects? I suppose any
Yeah, that's a
desktop
pretty good.
sufficient.
Yeah, that's a pretty good question. Yeah. These days, I wouldn't suggest spending anything on your hardware or anything. What you should be doing is, if you have internet connections, most of the things are available online. Use Kaggle. They have pretty good notebook and execution environment as well. So yeah, just use any of those web IDs, web infrastructures. They have pretty good ones.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this one is a little bit confusing. Which one is better for, I suppose, for someone already, or is better for, I suppose, a fresh graduate in IT and very good at mathematics and programming, to be a programmer or a data scientist? So basically saying which is better, being a programmer or a data scientist in the market now. And he is not in India currently.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. So think about it. Programming is not the end. Programming is a path, or is a tool. Think of it that way. So you can be a good software engineer, sure, and good software engineers also become pretty good data scientists as well later on. So I mean, and I won't say these are exclusive. Data science is more of a niche field. Lesser people are available. That's why you are seeing all this buzz about data science and all. A lot of courses and lot of openings. But if you are a good data software engineer with a good that field, you can always make that switch. So yeah, don't worry too much about that in the beginning. If you really like data science, I have already told you what's the path to become a good data scientist. It's not a 1 year journey. It'll take time.
Correct. Yeah. Here's a question from somebody who wants to be a data scientist from day one. Is that possible, or do we have to work our way up, starting as a programmer?
So as I said, data scientists, I mean, you might get a designation as a data scientist in a very small, like if I have a 5-people team, a 5-people firm, I can make you a data scientist. But the problem is, like, to become truly a good data scientist, you need to have that domain expertise. You should be able to smell it, trends from the data itself. And that doesn't come just fresh out of college. So it'll take time. It's a process. It's not like.
Correct. Okay, Samir Bhai has a series of questions. We'll take those offline. Samir Bhai will settle that. Atika Zaid asks, is it necessary to be an engineer, or even those who are BSc and postgraduates in related fields could eventually become data scientists? I think you have answered this question. So
yeah, I mean, just to give an anecdote. Yeah, just to give an anecdote, my friend who I consulted a lot before this presentation, he was MSc from in economics or MCom, I don't know, but yeah, he wasn't an engineer, so you don't have to be. So the point is, statistics and knowledge about data, or aptitude of maths, you don't learn, but programming and everything you can learn even later on. So yeah, don't worry about that.
Great.
There are a lot of good data scientists with BCom.
I think these are repetitions people ask before you get the answer. So I'll just read them. If you have something to add, you can. Otherwise, we can move on. I am a software developer. How do I change my path towards data science? Should I start with data analysis?
Yeah. So that's what I already answered. If you really want to make switch, how do you prove that you are good with data, or you are good as a data analyst even? So yeah, get one of those certifications and use that as a leverage to even talk about it. I would say do that within your organizations. They already know you are a good programmer and those kind of things. So it'll be easier to make a transition. It's not like you cannot make a transition. So these are all possibilities.
Yeah. This is another question that you have already answered. I am a BCom graduate and interested in programming. How will data science help my career? So
these are all disconnected things.
Yeah.
So programming is just part of being a data scientist.
Correct. Yeah. Ashar Mushtaq wants the website. I will get to that in a second. Or if somebody else is on the panel is free, you can type it in. Can a person other than a computer science background become a machine learning engineer? If yes, how?
Yeah, I think I've already talked about that. Computer science will teach you more about computers, and these days just the programming, but that's just a small part of it. Programming can be learned even later on. So yeah, being good in statistics, I think, is more important than just knowing programming.
Yeah. Okay. Here's something I had. I think you have what I had noted down. I'm just going over that. And I see that you have answered all those questions. Can non-engineering students join data science? You have done that. How to get into leading companies? I mean, what are the courses or skill sets that are important? You have said that. What is your view on online courses? You have said that. Oh, here's something. how do we really motivate students, especially from tier 2, tier 3 cities and tier 2, tier 3 universities, colleges, who sometimes don't have the information. So we can supply the information, but sometimes they don't have the confidence. How can we motivate them? Have you had any experience, or have you had any ideas about how we could tackle this issue?
Yeah, I also come from a small town, so I lived most of my life in Kanpur and Aligarh, and these are not big cities. Um, so the only way you get confidence is knowing people who have confidence. That's one of the ways confidence rubs off from each other. That's one. And then participating in all these competitions as well, like go, like if you are a programmer, you take some projects online. There are quite a few projects that are available, and then join a few courses, get to know people, and then talk to them. Once you talk to people, you'll get that hesitancy out of you, and then you'll know that I know also a lot of things as compared to what I thought. So that's really one thing you can do. Another thing is information, right? I mean, being in tier two, when I was like in 2000, early 2000s, we didn't have that internet facility. We didn't know most of the things. But now, if you know the things, you can definitely go. And it's all about knowledge is power, right? So the more knowledgeable you become, or you'll gain confidence, and you won't have this hesitancy. So I would say doing that, and then even people in the big cities, they also has a hesitancy, lack of confidence. So it's not a tier two down thing. It's more about how do you perceive yourself, and how do you think that the knowledge that you have, and that will just come when you talk or interact with more people, like going in competition or taking competitions online. That's where you'll get to know more people, and you'll get to know where do you stand in the universe.
Yeah, that's one thing. There was another thing I was thinking about. Normally in engineering, people don't have very good. The students don't have very good communication skills. Many students don't bother about English, and we keep insisting that you should pick up communication skills and English skills. And then for data science, I believe the requirement is a notch more than for any other engineering, especially if you are on the analyst side or the on the front dealing with the clients. And even if you're in the back end, you do need
Yeah.
to write reports. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? How much of that kind of work that you do?
Yeah, think about this, right? Mhm. Yeah, think about this. So if you were just creating reports, the point is the value of the report is actually comes when it goes to the people who can make decisions, right? So if you are not that good, somebody else will take that report and present it to the thing. So they'll be more valued. So you do all the hard work. You are the back end. I mean, I was also this idea that I don't need to be a good communicator, or I don't want to be in front of people. But the point is, if you have done all the hard work at the back end, why let somebody else take that credit? Because whosoever is presenting, he'll present it in his own words, and the business head or whosoever is looking at that report or receiving that report will give credit to the person who is delivering that. So if you are delivering that report but not communicating well, and communicating doesn't just mean being fluent in English. You can have broken English. I have a lot of people who are like pretty good, but their English is not as great, even the worst English speakers in India, but they are pretty good in terms of what they're talking about and confident. So don't, like, if your English is not very fluent, you can gain that. Like, my English was really poor even 5 years after I was working. So it comes with time. And the thing is, you should have confidence, and you should not, I mean, your report or your presentations, people won't set it aside if your English is not fluent. It's not that way. It's like you should have substance. and you should have confidence. So communicating is more about confidence and the way you present your things. Words come later. So yeah, that's just a small percentage of that.
Okay. So essentially, English is important, but without English, you can still communicate effectively if you really have the confidence. Did I capture what you wanted to say there?
Yep. And right now, I mean, right now the industry, the world, I mean, the language, common language is English. So yeah, you definitely need to create sentences out of it, but it doesn't have to be fluent and that fluent, right? And just that you keep working on that, you will become fluent. It's just that it's not adding or subtracting any points from you. If you have substantial value addition, that's what people matters more.
Okay. Thank you very much, Zubair bhai. That was fantastic. I'll invite Amar bhai. He is one of the members of our team to close the session today. Amar bhai. Amar bhai, you have to unmute yourself. Amar bhai, can you hear me? Looks like he's off. Okay, never mind. Then that will be my privilege. Firstly, thank you very much, Zubair bhai, for joining us. It was short notice and readily accepted. That was very nice of you. And to spend almost 1.5 hours, it's 4 minutes past midnight for you. So that's hopefully you will get back to be able to get some rest for tomorrow. And that was a very comprehensive speech. Every aspect of data science that we could have thought of was covered, and hopefully we can stay in touch and do things further. But we won't, go beyond what you are able to give, because I know in your 30s you need to work more on your career and things that will, make you stronger to contribute to the society in your later years. Thank you very much, and thank you to all the participants for joining us. I would also like to thank Farhat, who set up the whole thing. And sometimes people in maintenance, those who are engineers will know, people in maintenance never get credit for anything when things are running smooth. When something goes down, they get all the blame. So that's how it is. But she keeps things running smooth, and we really are very appreciative of her efforts. And I thank Razak bhai. He is involved in every project because he is heading operations, and he is present in almost all the projects. I don't know where he gets the time from. I have been making dua for 26 hours per day. For me, his dua probably has been accepted. And I thank the other members of the panel who have joined here. Some of them are newly joined, and they'll be helpful to us as we go along. And so thank you all for joining, and a very eventful and useful afternoon for us, and a very and night for Zubair bhai. So let's just close this with a short dua. Zubair bhai, you want to do it, or is that putting you in a difficult position?
Yeah, please go ahead and do that.
Okay, I'll do it myself. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. Ya Allah, please forgive our sins. Ya Allah, show us the right path. Ya Allah, whatever we do together, we do to please you. Ya Allah, make this event fruitful, successful for our youngsters, for our community, for our country, and for whole humanity. Ya Allah, get rid of the COVID-19 that is spread around the world and creating major hurdles and problems to our people. Ya Allah, make everything easy for us. Ya Allah, please accept our salutations. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Thank you all. Thank you for attending. We'll close here. Zuber bhai, thank you very much. We'll stay in
Yeah,
touch.
no problem. Yeah,
Jazakallah khair.
inshallah.